it's my pleasure to kickstart this evening, and I'd like to invite our first award presenter this evening to present the Liberation and Leadership Award. Please welcome onto the stage Thomas Adamski, the Chair of Trustees for Refugee Action York, which is one of our REG beneficiaries this year. Come on up.
Hi everyone. The Liberation and Leadership Award. Now more than ever, we need to work together to tackle inequality, build up and amplify those often ignored or marginalised, and foster an accepting, culturally diverse and inclusive community at the university, in the city and beyond. The Liberation and Leadership Award recognises those who are doing all this. The individuals nominated are all making a positive contribution to equality, inclusivity and diversity on any scale during their time at the University of York. I'm from Refugee Action York, and we work with anyone in York who's seeking asylum or refuge. So many of your fellow students at this fabulous institution have volunteered their time to our cause, which we hope that one day will no longer be a cause, but simply just, the way we do things in the world. That can only happen due to the efforts of the people that we're going to welcome on to the stage shortly. So the shortlisting and judging panels had an extremely difficult decision to make with this award, and therefore have chosen a highly commended as well as a winner. So the person who is highly commended for this award has dedicated their last 3 years to alleviating educational inequality and has sought opportunities to help improve the student experience for those from lower socio-economic backgrounds. They've done so by being an active member of USU's 93% Club, which exists to help break down the divide between state and private schools. The individual's work has since seen them appointed as Chief of Staff for the 93% Foundation, which is the central parent charity tackling these issues of education inequality. So highly commended for the Liberation and Leadership Award is Caroline Manigat. Do we have Caroline? Take your time. Okay, thank you. So, now on to tonight's winner. This individual was nominated for their huge contribution in making Derwent College a more inclusive space via their role as BAME Rep and Derwent's first ever BAME Chair. Their work in both of these roles was commended by their peers as they make sure all members' voices are heard, and they have cultivated a responsible, accessible, diverse committee that is ensuring uni is a safe and welcoming space for all. The judges were overwhelmed by the passion and love that this individual's nominators felt for them. The dedication to proper representation, fostering a diverse and inclusive community on campus, and their passion for those they represent really shone through. Okay, and the winner of the Liberation in Leadership Award is in this fancy envelope. Please come to the stage, Zara Sharif.
Shake it out, shake Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm actually really gobsmacked at winning this award. I've been telling all my friends for weeks, like, there's no way I'm winning. Everyone else nominated is absolutely incredible, and they are. It's just incredible how many people have been nominated for this award, and reading through the reasons, I was blown away. You're all the most incredible people, and I feel so lucky to go to university with people who are doing such incredible work for underrepresented groups at York. But thank you so much for this award. I'm really gobsmacked, but thank you so much.
York has hundreds of passionate students and groups who tirelessly campaign for all kinds of brilliant causes. These may be to bring about change, raise awareness for a cause, or to advocate for those who, for whatever reason, cannot advocate for themselves. So it is my honour to invite the Right Honourable, the Lord Mayor of York, Councillor David Carr, to the stage to present the Campaign of the Year award.
Good evening, everyone. Campaign of the Year Award. Activism can take many forms. It can be as simple as signing a petition, sharing a news article to raise awareness, or talking to your friends about an issue or cause that means a lot to you. It can also be done on a larger scale, mobilizing groups of people to speak up and protest, or even putting yourself out there to represent others. I think it's pretty obvious from all this stuff I'm wearing around my neck who I am. But I'm also a politician. I've been a politician for around 8 years, although for this year as Lord Mayor, I have to be apolitical. Nevertheless, as a councillor, I've been involved in many campaigns over a wide range of issues, and I'm delighted to be here tonight as part of the Love York Awards and to present this Campaign of the Year award. This award aims to recognise strong student-led campaigns conducted by groups or individuals on campus that have taken place during this academic year. All varieties of campaigns have been nominated for this award, from diversity and liberation, environmental, promotional, political, and much, much more. The winner of this award is a group that hosted a peaceful protest and teach out in response to a recent speaker who came to campus to deliver a talk. The aim of this event was to raise awareness of SWERFism, sex worker exclusionary feminism, and to educate on the issues and dangers of radical feminism. The main goals were to educate against the talk and invite others who wanted to speak out against it to join them in solidarity. So I'm very pleased to announce the winner of the Campaign of the Year award is the Feminist Society. Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, ooh. Shut up and dance. Don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my...
I did not expect that we'd win this at all, so I haven't really prepared anything, but I just wanted to say thank you to the people that obviously put us forward for it, the people in the room that were there. I think this is a really big step for York in the sense of solidarity with trans students and also sex worker students who are here at York. So thank you so much. It means everything.
Congratulations to the Feminist Society for that very well-deserved win there. As well as running campaigns locally, hundreds of York students have pulled together over the last few months to donate their time and belongings and to stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine in response to the continuing horrific humanitarian crisis. To continue to support people across the country, we are honoured to have developed a partnership with Kharkiv National University in northeast Ukraine. Our USU president, Patrick O'Donnell, spoke with his counterpart there, Vitalina Shevchenko, about the effects of the Russian invasion and the support we can show here at York for peace and friendship across borders.
Can you tell us how this is affecting life for your students and for you as well in Kharkiv?
Unfortunately, Kharkiv is one of the most affected cities. And of course, almost nothing is working right now, and we cannot go to our universities. We still continue studying online, doing lessons, doing our homework as much as we can. However, it's not the same. The majority of students had to flee Kharkiv. They returned back to their cities, or they had to change their place of living, or they had to flee and go abroad. And yes, so however, there are still about 100 students still in Kharkiv. And these days, more and more students return to our city because it is getting a bit better, and we really want to be at home. And that's why our students, with the whole courage and without any fear, they return back to their city, to their home. Right now, number one priority for us is to make sure that all of our students are in a safe place and they have accommodation where to live. That's why we agreed with the various universities of the Western Ukraine that were really happy to help us. And we arrange free accommodation for our students in the Western Ukraine, in Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, also in the central part of Ukraine, Poltava, Cherkasy, in Kyiv as well. There are some students that are unfortunately on the occupied territories or in some cities where there is no connection, and their friends, their families, and we cannot reach them for some time, unfortunately. That's why we arranged, we have a Google Drive with all important information of students with their names and where they could be found, and we try to reach them, and whenever we have some important information and we understand that they are okay, they are alive, we just pass this information to their families, to their teachers, to their group mates, to make everyone sure that they are okay.
This has all happened, incredibly quickly. I remember, February, we kind of heard in the UK, the news about the invasion. This has happened very quickly. At what moment, Vitalina, did you realize what was happening, and have you had a chance to kind of, take it in and understand what's really happened?
Oh, it's a tough question, because before the full-scale invasion, and even in the first days or even weeks, I can say that I wasn't realizing. I mean, I understood what's happening, but I could not accept it. I could not accept this full-scale invasion of my country, of my city, of my home. At some point, you just have to accept it. And when you accept it, I mean, you accept that what is happening in your country, and you accept new reality that you have to live in, and you continue contributing to the victory of our country, of Ukraine, continue supporting students, continue supporting the whole nation, and try to keep living.
What advice would you give to students in York about how we can help, our students and our friends in Ukraine?
First of all, I want to say that we are all grateful that we have such kind of partnership, and all your words of support and everything, that they matter, because not everyone understands that this matters. They think that, oh, it's just words, but no, it matters. The most important for us is to understand that we are not forgotten, that everyone understands what is happening in our country, what is happening with our universities, and that you can share information, you can spread and show your support, show that you stand with Ukraine, stand with us. I would love to meet you all one day in Ukraine, in Kharkiv, to show our campus and to share our traditions and hold some event together, because it's important. And maybe one day next year we can do it. We have to do it. After the full scale invasion of Ukraine, we started to value everything that we had, our routine, our offline lessons at universities, and even now all the deadlines that we have, all routine that we have, the hundreds of tasks and assignments from university. We are so happy we would love to have them now. And so yes, I want to say that our life is brilliant, and the most important thing is just to enjoy it, to enjoy your students years, the years that you can do everything, get education, working part-time, also being socially active. Yes, that's brilliant. So just enjoy and value everything.
Thank you so much to Vitalina for agreeing to speak to us and for being a part of this evening's event. We really hope to meet you and your students as soon as it's safe to do so. Our next award category this evening is the Volunteer of the Year Award, kindly sponsored by Castle Howard. So many of our wonderful students volunteer their time to make our city so amazing. In the wake of poor government policy and a lack of adequate funding for crucial services, this work is more important than ever. I spent my time as a student volunteering for the wonderful charity York Neighbours, where I had the privilege of working with incredible elderly people across the city. So many of our student community do amazing voluntary work, and it's amazing to be able to celebrate that this evening. To present this award, we have Drew Richardson, Volunteer Centre Manager at York Centre for Voluntary Services. Please welcome Drew to the stage.
Hello. So the last few years have showed everyone the immense importance and value that volunteers bring to our communities. They organise food banks, they reach out to us when we're most in need, support us when we're vulnerable, help our children to reach their full potential, and run important services, as well as much, much more. I was asked to present this award as a representative of the voluntary organisations across the city, but I started down this career shortly after graduating. I stayed in my university town after graduation and got a job with my students' union, linking students up with local community organisations who needed students' help and knowledge. Lots of my friends moved away after graduating though. I was no longer a student. I couldn't participate in all the amazing clubs and societies that we saw in the video earlier. And my friends who had moved away found themselves in new cities or in hometowns with their friends dispersed all over the country too. I think one of the toughest challenges of adulting is no one teaches us how to make friends outside of education. So it comes as no surprise that a study, Ibbotson 2019 from YouGov, by the way, in case there's any lecturers checking that I'm referencing. The study found nearly half of young Brits experienced difficulty in making new friends, that those aged 18 to 24 were the most affected by loneliness out of any age group, with around 9 out of 10 18 to 24-year-olds saying they experience loneliness to some degree, and 1 in 4 saying they felt it often. So I was going to encourage people tonight who don't volunteer already to look to the nominees of this award as shining role models of selflessness to emulate, and they are. But tonight I'm not going to ask you to volunteer to be selfless. I'm going to ask you to volunteer to be selfish. Volunteer to make some more local friends who care about the causes you care about. Feel proud about the difference that you'll make for that cause. Make your CV or your job interview stand out from the crowd a bit more. But most importantly, do it for your own well-being and mental health. Don't give your time to charities. Give yourself some time to volunteer for you. As you can see, I clearly didn't read the bit that said a few words, so let's crack on. The Volunteer of the Year Award rewards an outstanding volunteer or active citizen in recognition of their dedication, efforts, and impact that they've made in local, national, or even the international community. The winner of this award is someone who has been rather busy over the last year or so. Alongside their degree, which also included a year abroad, they've been the project coordinator for All Should Eat, one of USU's newest volunteering projects, which works with local food banks to collect food from campus and get it to those who need it most. In a short space of time, this individual has helped the group to expand, and they now have 9 donation boxes across campus and have increased their membership by 90 students in the last year, which is an incredible achievement. So the winner of the Volunteer of the Year Award is Laurel Ellis.
Hiya. Oh gosh, there's so many of you. I'm delighted to win this award. I've got my lovely committee here as well who have been so helpful, and honestly, this isn't my award, this is all of ours award. So well done to my committee as well for All Should Eat. We started in the York Leaders Programme in 2020, and we had basically no idea what we were doing. This is our first year on campus, so honestly, it's such a privilege to be awarded this award. We now have 8 donation boxes across campus where you can put food donations in, and we take it to Tang Hall Community Centre. We also have a donation drive next Monday the 13th, so please come along. It's Nisa West, I think. Please check us out on social media, it'd be amazing. But yeah, thank you so much.
Nice. Sorry, just looking at the waves in the audience. So, this year I have seen more students than ever getting involved with wellbeing initiatives, such as campaigns, student groups and individuals working with the university. York is increasingly starting to become more inclusive, caring and welcoming as a university. But that is totally down to our students and the dedication that you have to each other. So I'm proud to introduce the presenter for this award, Kate Mitchell, who is the Fundraising and Development Manager for the charity Student Minds, to confirm this is contribution to student wellbeing.
Hi everyone. The last few years have been extremely difficult for most of us. The pandemic threw us all into isolation, and although it's beginning to feel like a distant memory, we're still feeling the effects of that now. But York has a thriving community of students who are passionate about doing all they can to advocate for and improve the mental well-being of their peers. Well done to everyone who's been nominated. You're all doing brilliant work in such an important area. I'm here tonight from Student Minds, the UK student mental health charity. I'm always so impressed by the creative things students across the country are doing to create mentally healthy communities. And I'm always particularly impressed by the stories my colleagues tell me about what's going on with students at York. The Contribution to Student Wellbeing Award recognises the work of an individual or group who has shown dedication, passion and innovation to improve the wellbeing of students or have raised awareness of specific issues affecting student wellbeing during their time at university. First up are Highly Commended. This group aims to help student wellbeing through the medium of arts and crafts. Their weekly workshops, which include themes such as origami and tote bag painting, takes place in an environment that is sensitive to members' physical and sensory needs and cultivates a space that allows students to express themselves through their art in a way that's most comfortable for them. And the Highly Commended for the contribution to student wellbeing goes to Craft Society. The winner of this award leapt into action last year when it was revealed that over 100 new students were having to live in Hull due to a lack of available on-campus accommodation. They worked with the union to amend bus timetables, arrange visits to Hull and York campuses, and made sure that the right information, support and advice and freebies got to those students. This wasn't a paid role, nor were they asked to or required to help. They simply did this to support those students who feel less isolated and closer to their York community. And the winner of the Contribution to Student Wellbeing Award is Zara Hayes.
Your folks might understand you by and by.
Unfortunately, Zara isn't here tonight and is unable to collect the award in person. Thank you again to all the students who've contributed to student wellbeing.
Right. Hasn't it been exciting so far? So this is the part of the evening where I get to talk at you for a little bit, so I hope you don't get bored. But before I start, I'd like to put a content warning on it, because in this speech I will be touching on the topic of sexual violence. Not in detail, more in passing, just to provide context, so if you need to nip out, please do so. Something I want to talk about in the next few minutes that I have is my experience at university. I am aware that so many of you in this room see me as someone that gets shit done, drives for change and makes a difference. But my university experience isn't pretty and it isn't nice, and I'm lucky enough that as a result I was able to shout loud enough to make change happen, so no student had to go what I went through. Again, hopefully, fingers crossed. So I came through York through clearing with a pretty broken family network, and I didn't feel prepared or supported for university. I actually wasn't even expecting the geese, and I kind of come to love them. Within my first term at uni, I realised that my housemates, as nice as they were, probably weren't my people for life. And while at the same time my health was dramatically declining to the point that the university did kind of turn around and go, "Hun, we think you're disabled." And it felt like a label that was whacked on my forehead, and an SSP was put in place, and no other support provided. Very quickly, I started feeling really lost at university, like I was losing parts of myself. Unfortunately, this did continue into second year, and worsened due to some days being able to get out of bed to lectures, out of the house, and just enjoy life, as well as my experience of sexual violence at uni, because that happened in my second year. And I think I've been quite vocal about it, it's easy to say. But something I wanted to share this evening was a conversation I had with myself just a few days after what happened to me happened, and I've never shared this with anyone before. I couldn't get out of bed, and I sat there and I thought, you know what, I've got two choices here. I can sit here and I can let this stop me living my life, and I can just stay in bed all day. I can stay in bed for the rest of my life and let this really stop me. Or number two, I can get up, roll over, grab my phone. I won't go on Instagram, but instead I'll report it, and I'll fight like hell to make sure this never happens again, and I will choose to live. And that's exactly what I did. wasn't expecting that response, and this morning I'm going to admit I cried a little bit doing this speech in my bedroom, so just give me a moment. It wasn't easy going through the university investigation process because the world was thrown into a pandemic, and I think all of us were lost in that lockdown. Nobody knew what on earth was going on or when it would end. I was left rather unhappy with the procedure, and I was annoyed because trying to feed back to the university honestly felt like talking to a brick wall. And it took months for me to work out what I wanted to do. But after months of feeling silenced, I decided to drop Johnny. Give us a shout, where are you? The editor of News at the time, and conveniently my course mate, a message. Johnny, you gave me a voice at a time that I felt silenced. I can't thank you enough for that. You always said it was your pleasure to do it and it was the right thing to do, but it was amazing, so thank you. You gave me the first step to start talking about the injustices that so many students at universities across the UK face, and thank you. I then came across the wonderful Imogen Horrocks. You're over there. Oh, I'm really bawling now. My makeup's probably gone. And we started the last debut in like October, November. We were having meetings on the sly in your kitchen, weren't we? And since then, we've consulted over 400 students at York to talk about sexual misconduct. And in my opinion, it's triggered one of the biggest institutional change that I've come across in universities across the UK. We pushed York and made it one of the best universities we could. And I'm so proud that I go to conferences across the UK and hear about other universities saying we want to be like York. And I do feel like we have some credit for that. The campaign has encouraged so many students to report sexual misconduct and as well change and talk about the systems that are in place currently. Last year, actually, Imogen attended the Love York Awards on my iPad, like literally the one I've got here. And because a few days ago she was contact traced for COVID, so just as a little side note, I hope you're making use of the bar and finally taking in that Love York Award experience. Despite winning Campaign of the Year last year, I don't think Imogen would mind me saying running a campaign to that level, dedication, impact and drive on such a sensitive topic does take its emotional toll. I want to take a moment to thank Imogen for being co-founder of The Last to Be With Me, because together we fought like hell to change this institution, and you know what, we did do a bloody good job, but I think it's about time we retire, right? So well done, thank you. For me, choosing life felt like fighting for what was right. And when I made that decision to choose life, I felt like at the time it was right to campaign, to change this university and the whole sector for the better as much as I could. Making sure that no student felt how I did again, and that is what made me fight to stay alive. The pressure really does get to you when you're so vocal on an issue like this, and you feel like you need to help everyone and fix every small issue, but I've come to terms with the fact that you just can't. You can't fix everything, because this world's a bit whack, to be fair. A lot of people asked why I didn't rerun for my second year, and honestly, it's because I don't have much fight left. I realised that pretty early on in my term. And why? Well, because the whole time I was fighting for others, fighting for this university to be better, and I just don't think I took enough time to look after myself. I've hit burnout so many times this year, and I'll be honest about that, and every time I've taken a moment to reflect why. And honestly, I think it's just because I need a break. Because being a voice for other people does consume your life, and you need to take your own time, and I need to take my own time to find my voice again, without the weight on my shoulders of trying to fix the world, because I'm going to tell you all now you can't. Campaigners and student reps, especially in student wellbeing, are the people that get brushed under the carpet and not given enough credit for the change that they make, and that's something that I've really realised in my job as a sabbatical officer. I want to remind you all to take a break, to look after yourselves, and before you need to be looked after, by the way. And I also want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you in this room and every single one of you outside who have tried to make a change. So can you turn to each other and say thank you just for existing and give each other a bit of a pat on the back? Share the love, because you all deserve it. That's actually so wholesome to watch. Like, you're really getting into it. I think as well I should also take a moment to thank my boyfriend Jordan. You've been my absolute rock this year, and despite knowing absolutely nothing about universities, because you never went to one and it didn't really interest you, did it? You've taken time to listen and understand the complexities of it and support me regardless of the challenges that I face in this job. And I couldn't have done this year without you, and I'm so lucky, so thank you. That was the soccer bit. But you know what, while I'm here on stage, just to take the opportunity, I want to reflect on one particular student that has always been around since I started at York. This student has been the absolute backbone to student wellbeing, and this student life would have been nothing without her. They've absolutely thrown themselves into a variety of situations that have come their way. They've worked phenomenally hard to make every student they come across feel welcomed at York. As I mentioned in my first year, I felt pretty down lost, and I met this student through a mutual friend. Even though we only came into passing a few times that year, that student always ensured that I was included in those conversations, because I can be quite quiet in social groups, and that everyone were being looked after on nights out. For me, it's the really small things that matter. You know, the small things that people do are the ones that matter to me. And this student has done so many small things for every single person in their life. This student has held a variety of roles in student life and has given their absolute all to ensuring students have the safest, fullest, and most enjoyable experience at York they could possibly have. This student set up their College Rounders team, was a volunteer coordinator for Open Minds, which focused on giving students in secondary schools the tools to understand mental health. This student was a president of the softball and baseball club for 2 years, secretary of James College, head of wellbeing for James College, York Sport Union communications officer, also did loads of volunteering outside of their university life, and they just, probably missed something off that list. I've had the absolute privilege of watching the student throughout my time at York thrive to support students. They welcomed hundreds of students onto campus while managing over 156 during the 2020 arrivals, which was a pretty tough one to manage. They've worked ruthlessly on the phones to make sure that all of you lot are okay during that nasty lockdown we had a few years ago. Well, a few months ago, really, when you think about it. But you get what I mean when it first started. They ran so many community-based social media campaigns to keep students engaged with James College life, as well as to distract students from the negativity that was happening just outside their doors. She's hosted a range of additional online events, such as having external speakers on key issues such as sexual health to give that social education that university life provides beyond its academic, at a time when that just wasn't accessible to a lot of students. She successfully campaigned for the provision of free period products to be provided by James College, as well as setting up the delivery system within the college so people could still access them, as well as their sexual health supplies. When Imogen and I started the last Abuse, she was straight away one of the first students to pledge. And with that, knocked on loads of other pledges. We had like over 153, and I do not think we wouldn't have gotten as many if it wasn't for this individual student who just told everyone to do it, as well as just spread the power, spread the message. It was lovely. She's been part of the core team that has organised James College Freshers this year, and it's one of the events she was involved in planning, won Best College Event of the Year 2021 at the College Committee Awards earlier this year. They've created the James College Survival Guide, the Life in York Guide for students, both guides telling you everything you need to know about James College, the university, everything in the city, even the best places to go for a pint. And you know what? She worked tirelessly throughout Raises to shout at the amazing sports clubs that we have at York, and throughout the year champion an inclusive environment for students by running campaigns such as York Girl Can. More than ever this year, this student has been in my life as a friend. There have been times I wanted to quit this job, let's be honest, and I just couldn't see through the fog. But without knowing it, this student's come by the office and reminded me why I wanted to be your community and wellbeing officer. She's listened and supported me at times when this job has gotten too much and enabled to justify the frustrations that I feel. In this speech, I've spoken about 3 students. All of them have contributed positively to my experience at York, and all of them deserve the biggest thank you. From the bottom of my heart, you've changed my York experience. But for me, this one student is the definition of an unsung hero, not just because of everything they've done for student life, but because she's never really been thanked for everything that she does. And on the rare occasion she does get thanked for the one thing, she turns around and goes, oh, it's actually them that did it, or like, oh, thank you, it's them, but it was her. Very, very much. You're right pain for doing that. This student, for me, she's chosen to live her life and support others, celebrate others, and dedicate it to those around her. From the moment I met Sian Brooks, she has gone above and beyond to make me feel included, to support the work I've done, but also to be that friendly face to the thousands of students she's touched with and come into contact with throughout her time at York. Students like Sian don't come around that often, and friends like Sian don't come around that often. So thanks, Sian, for just being Sian. And I'd really like to invite you on stage to come and collect your Unsung Hero Award from me. And I can completely see you're sobbing. Come on.
Okay, I've told to be very quick, but wasn't expecting this in the slightest, but honestly, thank you to everybody I've met at York. You guys are in there somewhere, the lights are bright, I can't see you right now, but I love you all. Every single person has contributed massively to whatever I've achieved. Couldn't have done it without any of you. So, no, but genuinely, like, we don't achieve anything without the people around us, so thank you guys, I love you.
Right, I've now been tasked with following that. Well done to Sian. So, at USU, we have over 100 student staff members. They work across the entire organisation, from our bars and our venues to working in our opportunities team, helping to plan fixtures and organise events, quite like this one. So, it goes without saying that every employee every single one of them is valued, and without them, the organisation would not be what it is today. So, thank you to all of them. To present this award, I'd like to invite Ben V, CEO of USU, to the stage.
Hello. It's really bright, isn't it? It's horrible. The Sabs are looking gorgeous, aren't they? Give them a round of applause. And the students who come up here to receive awards are just, there's some amazing stories of amazing people doing amazing things, and you're all fantastic. As Matt says, USU, the people, the students are what make USU what it is. USU isn't just a place where you go to hand in your team sheet or your society accounts. It's not just a bar or a cafe. It's not a strange round logo or a courtyard burger. It's not the Sabs, and it's definitely not a CEO. It's you, it's a group of students. And whether you're a sports captain or an athlete, a liberation campaigner or a part-time rep, a sabbatical officer or a course rep, a fundraiser, a volunteer project coordinator, a committee chair, whether you're buying a beer from one of our venues or you're using our advice centre, whether you're voting in an election or writing an article for a student magazine, you are the union. And it's exactly that principle that made us decide that we really wanted to employ students in every area of the union. And as an old fart, I get to tell you that 12 years ago, we opened our first venue. It was the Courtyard Bar. Who likes the Courtyard Bar? Yeah, good shout out for that, yeah. And at the time when we had the Courtyard Bar, and we were much smaller, we were a very different organisation, we employed 14 students in total, nearly all of them in that hospitality venture. And as the years passed, we opened more venues, we grew our student opportunities team, we established a student support and voice team, we grew our work on digital, and we did all of this. The fuel that allowed us to grow was students. It was students working in every area of the organisation, from the reception desk, from behind the bar, in research, programming and web pages, even right up to our boardroom, where we proudly enjoy the company of students in the boardroom as well. And today we employ over 160 incredible students. Over 75% of our workforce is students, and at best we pay over £500,000 a year into the pockets of our students. Sadly, I think that will be something you need more and more of in future, and we will try and respond. Student staff are fabulous. They don't just bring a diversity to the organisation. They don't just make us younger and more energetic and more attractive than I can be. They are also a hell of a lot more fun than I can be. They're more passionate, they're more creative, they solve problems, and they're more in touch with students' expectations than I would pretend to be. They make the union better. So a huge and warm and genuine thanks to every single one of our student staff. Thanks for being part of our organisation and for helping us to be the best that we can be. So, on to the important bit, the nominees. And we wanted to celebrate with the nominees those staff who make a real difference, those who don't just turn up to the office, but they bring their whole selves to work. They're the ones who are really proud to work here and to serve you, our members. They're the ones who really help us to up our game continually and challenge us to be the best we can be. It was hotly contested, and the judges had too hard a job to do, so they do have a highly commended as well as a winner. The staff member who's been highly commended, their nominator thanked them for their tireless work in one of our flagship venues. And the nominator wrote, no matter how much they have going on in their personal and academic life, they always show up, ready to work and work hard. They pick up extra shifts. They make the effort when others need help with anything that's going on. They work extremely hard to keep the kitchen running. They are tough. They are fun-loving and genuinely care about their co-workers and their students. Highly commended, I've just lost it, that doesn't help. Highly commended goes to Madeline Blunn. Can you come up and collect your award? And then on to our winner. Our winner's been with us quite a while now. They've become a really integral part of the USU team, and they've gone from strength to strength, helping us to do the same. They've invested huge amounts of time and energy into helping us to deliver some of our biggest events, some of our biggest activities. They've been described by their nominator as creative, curious, constructive, and always putting students' needs and wants first. As well as their dedication to brilliant graphic design, they are also never afraid to challenge the status quo and constructively question and challenge our work in order to make it better for our members. The winner of the USU Student Staff Member of the Year is Jonathan Wellington.
Wow, thank you very much. Sorry, I'll be honest, I haven't really recovered from what Callie said. I'm not sure if she's back yet. So thank you so much to you as well. Thank you for everyone at USU. Just been... Did I design these? This is last year's. And no, everyone at USU has just been such a privilege to work with. And I haven't seen Hattie, but I know she'll be around somewhere. I feel like she took a proper chance on me a while ago, and wherever you are, thank you very much for that, because it's been amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who's had to put up with me in UC venues going, oh, I did that, by the way. Or even today, your program, I have been annoying. So, but I've enjoyed it all, so thank you so much. Yeah, cheers.
Congratulations to both our winner and our highly commended. We're going to take a brief interlude now from the ceremony with our first performance. So please put your hands together for Swing Sock.
Okay. Yeah! I can't see who's cheering, but you're a legend, whoever you are. That was a fantastic performance. Thank you so much to Swing Sock. I wish I could dance like that. Well done. So my cue card says, talk about student media, be funny. That's not hard. So this next award is the Outstanding Contribution to Student Media. Now, we're really, really lucky to have so many talented student media people here at York. We've won a few SUs to have 2 in-print newspapers. We've got a Lemon Press, which is fantastic. We've also got our TV station, our radio station. and so many other more. There's far too many to name. There's loads of you guys, and you all make a fantastic contribution during your time here and go on to wonderful things. One of you even has now got a job at the Daily Mail, but we're not going to talk about that. So, without me getting in trouble, I'll move on to our guest presenter, who is one of those people who's gone on to do amazing things. She's gone on now to be a reporter for BBC Radio Leeds. I don't know why she left BBC Radio York. That's far better. Oh, no, she's back actually. And presenter on Jorvik Radio. Can I please welcome to the stage Hannah Sackville-Bryant.
Thank you, Patrick. Student media takes skill, hard work, and dedication to produce, with many roles behind the scenes, This award recognises outstanding individuals that have demonstrated the benefit of student media at York, or those that have made significant impact to improve the quality of campus journalism during their whole time at university. My time at uni wasn't about my degree. To be honest, I spent the majority of my time in a shack opposite Van Brahms with the words, "Your way" on the side. Yeah, it's where I met my closest friends and is where I found my passion for radio. And it's why, ultimately, I now speak into a microphone for a living at the BBC, which is a bit weird. Media at the Uni of York is multi-award winning and one of the best, if not the best, in the country. Yeah. I would definitely say it is. I mean, even YSTV here tonight as well, It's incredible because it's entirely run by students. In fact, I don't know how we got away with a lot of the things that we did when I was at uni. I'm sure you're all getting away with it as well now. At least I hope you are, yeah. It's held together by a handful of students who work tirelessly to make it all happen, even sacrificing a 2-1 or a first or their degrees to do it. Trust me, I would know. Okay. Well done, and thank you to all the nominees of this award. And the winner almost needs no introduction. They've had a hand in almost every student media group at York during their time here. Their nominators said, if you need something or someone in student media, this is who you go to. They've been involved in student media ever since they started at York, and they've stayed dedicated throughout their time here. They've worked fantastically hard to increase the profile of student media at the uni, and they've really enabled student groups to showcase all media-related work. They've taken the time to give students a voice. They've worked so hard for various student groups, societies, sports teams, representatives to not only showcase our student media talent, but also showcase our wider student population. So, without further ado, the winner of Outstanding Contribution to Student Media Award is Matt Ward-Perkins.
Light up your wildest dreams, museum victories. Every day we wanted everything. Mama said, don't give up. It's a little complicated. All tied up.
Thank you. It's strange to be up here at Session Award on my own because you don't really do anything in student media on your own. You do it with teams. And I've been really, really lucky to be a part of some incredible teams and to be nominated alongside some really talented people and really talented friends who I've been lucky enough to work with. And so, this is all for them. And for every club, society, person who told us their story or played a sports match that we covered on the telly or came on that radio show with societies, you're all why this happens. Student media is strange because it's not really for us, it's for everyone. And hopefully, if I've been able to be a bit of a part of that, that's incredible. The best things that happen at York happen when student groups, not just student media, are put in the centre of plans, are trusted, and are relied on for their expertise. If you want to know how to do things for students, ask our student groups. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you to that one person that clapped there. And all the rest of you again. Right. So, the next award is the Outstanding Contribution to Academic Experience. Academic life has been a roller coaster for the past year and a bit. That's not really a secret. And it's not always been in the best way either. But these people have worked tirelessly to improve it and make it the best it possibly can be. So, I would like to welcome Wayne Campbell, Academic Registrar, to the stage to present this award.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? Do any of you watch Friends? In the immortal words of Joey, how you doing? Okay. Well done to all of you. And I think it's been a very strong field of nominations for this particular award. Some of you may wonder, what does the academic registrar do? Basically, when you register to the time that you leave, you're mine, okay? And not literally mine, but you're mine. And to support me in that work, I work with a number of really good colleagues. One area that you will encounter on the academic side is the area of library, archives, and learning services. And I have with me tonight our Director for Library, Archives, and Learning Services, Kirsty Lyngstad. Do you want to stand up? Thank you, Kirsty. So if you have any complaints about the library service, you know exactly where to go. Also, we've just acquired a very exceptional director of technology, estates, and facilities. Harvey, would you like to stand up? And you know what I'm going to say, don't you? If you have any complaints about the estate or anything else, you know exactly where to go. Right. This is about the outstanding contribution to the academic experience. With representation on every course, department and faculty at York, as well as academic societies and other volunteers, students can make a real difference to their learning. This award highlights those individuals or groups who have positively impacted our academic experience at the University of York. Yeah, indeed, we have a highly commended to put before you. Yes, I hear you say. Who is that person? It was a difficult decision. It always is. But the person commended for this award is someone who has served at the highest level of the politics department. That narrows it down a bit, doesn't it? They have strived to build a strong academic community. As the inaugural department community coordinator, they supported the department during the height of the COVID pandemic and was a recognizable face to all, organizing study groups and events for staff and students to attend so that all of them felt involved. However, one role was not enough for them. No, they wanted more. They also played a vital role in the politics society, starting as press and publicity officer and quickly moving on to becoming secretary, ensuring the society was as accessible as possible. Who is this outstanding individual? The highly commended award for outstanding contribution to academic experience goes to Gemma Longman. I don't think you get to speak.
Oh, sorry.
I am only following the format. That's all I'm doing. I could have made an exception. We do, but I won't. Because as academic registrar, I apply the rules fairly and consistently at all times. Gemma, as always, you have my congratulations and my sympathy. Now, who's the winner of this award? The winner of this award has been a course representative for nursing for 2 years, all whilst judging their degree, juggling, not judging. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Note to self, don't laugh. Whilst juggling their degree, placements, volunteering roles, and being a loving parent. That is an exceptionally difficult task, I can tell you. They have been described as resilient, hardworking, approachable, and an asset to their Department of Health Sciences. They are a passionate advocate for the course and their students and have been commended for their dedication to capturing and listening to student voices. And the winner of the outstanding contribution to academic experience is, in the words of Bruce Forsyth, come on down. You're showing your age. And to see you is not nice. But it's at this point that I say to you with all sincerity that I've left my envelope on the chair. And I can confirm to you that that was not planned. And the winner is Kira Hafein.
Baby, we can shake, shake, shake. Yeah. 'Cause the players gonna play, 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 play. And the haters gonna hate, haters gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake, shake, shake.
I know she. Thank you, Matt, for telling me something I already knew. It doesn't happen very often. Anyway, unfortunately, Kira cannot be here, but we congratulate her all the same. Thank you.
Again, I'm not entirely sure how I follow that. Right, but I do have 3 pages of speech to read out. So, thank you to our new PTOs. So, this is the part of the show where you will have to sit and listen to me for 5 minutes, and you can't go anywhere. So, strap in. I've been at York for almost 5 years now. And my respect does go out to mature students because at the ripe old age of 24, I am getting too old for this shit. I would like to share some memories from the past 5 years. Those memories include a range of highs and lows, from a Home Roses win, and arguably my favourite weekend ever in 2019, to nearly dropping out of my degree, more times than I can count. From finally walking across this stage a couple of weeks ago in a cap and gown, to sharing a room with Patrick for a weekend in Lancaster. I love you really, buddy. A high point in my first year was going out as a group of 12 for our flat Christmas meal, and it was just dumping it down with snow outside. And we were all dressed up, all Christmassy, And honestly, that was probably the most magical moment of my life, walking through the cobbled streets of York with snow coming down all around us, and we were all really quite drunk. And then spending that April 2018 heatwave out on Goodrick Green, day drinking in the sun instead of revising for our exams. We actually got caught on camera, and you can see us at 3:09 in YSTV's 2018 Guide to Colleges. Shout out to YSTV for holding me to account for 4 years. Television indeed. Thinking back to that first year is quite strange. Sabs often speak about wanting to change the world, but since I was elected in February of 2020 initially, the world has become almost unrecognizable, with very little work from me. So I guess I'll take a win from that somehow. Something quite sad I realized a few months ago, though, was that there are only a dozen or so people left in York who actually know me on a personal level. Almost everyone I developed a friendship with has moved on from York, and they did that when I started my first term. Between lockdowns and working long hours, it's been difficult to get to know new people, and my introverted self cannot deal with socializing after a day of work. Thank you. Which makes this a whole lot of fun, let me tell you. And thank you. So, because of all of that, I want to devote a part of this speech to thanking my colleagues who have helped me beyond words and have made these past 2 years that much more survivable. To our amazing USU staff, thank you for putting up with me being consistently late to every meeting that we have internally, because it's like clockwork, really. And to dealing with my stress coping mechanisms, including sitting me down and asking if I'm actually okay, and there were times when I really wasn't. So, anyway, to my fellow Sabs, you've often had to deal with me appearing calm and collected in the face of complete disaster, and then somehow catastrophizing minor issues and going down the rabbit hole. I'd say I can't imagine anything worse than working with me, but we all know that I absolutely can now. That was a really bad joke, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a grumpy old bastard, but all 4 of you have my eternal gratitude for your support throughout this past year. Finally, and that's finally for my thank yous, not the speech, don't get excited. So finally, I'd like to thank the loudest person I've had the pleasure of working with these past 2 years. Patrick, you absolutely drive me up the wall. But I love you dearly, and I couldn't have done this job without you. Thank you, gorgeous boy. Anyway, getting back on track. I was a course rep in my first year, because what else would I have been? And I doubt I'd have made it this far along my uni journey if I hadn't been a course rep. After that quite casual year, I've devoted another 4 years of my life to academic representation in York. 2 years as a department rep in maths, and now nearly 2, albeit chaotic years, as your academic officer. During that time, I've grown a great affection for the dysfunctional family of ALT, the academic leadership team. Made up of department and faculty reps and chaired by the academic officer, that me. We identify problems and try to figure something out vaguely resembling a solution. What part of the page am I at? Oh, often ending our meetings in Courtyard and V-Bar, because why not? Alt these past 2 years has been absolutely invaluable, and I'd like to thank all of you for volunteering your time and putting up with my chaotic chairing. Your input, thank you to the very, very bored EA. Your input has made a difference to the lives of students at this university, and you have a lot to be proud of. A special shout out has to go to my faculty reps who've kept me grounded and helped me far more than they needed to. There is, however, one final, and that's actual final, person that I need to celebrate. This person has been resourceful, has led the charge, and frankly has challenged us all to do better. I lost my last page. They rose up the ranks, holding university staff to account while jumping into crisis management mode at the drop of a hat. This person has shied away from the public side of the faculty rep role, so I'm going to drag them into the spotlight tonight, kicking and screaming. To plagiarize the words of my Grand-Sab, James Hare, from the 2019 Love York Awards, it is my goal each and every day to be more like the winner of my Unsung Hero Award. So, without further ado, the winner of this special award is Seisha Nicholson-Laley. have to follow Wayne somehow.
Yeah, as Matt said, I've spent my entire career as a rep avoiding the spotlight, and now he's put me in it, which is really quite rude of him, honestly. I got involved with representation as a course rep, and then I just kind of kept going, department rep, faculty rep, but it just ended up being one of those things that everybody, whether they want to or not, their academic experience is part of their university life. I know some of you really don't want this to be the case. But yeah, it's just good to know that the little things we do as reps actually make a difference out there, and hopefully all of you have had that experience with a rep, and if not, that's because they haven't told you about it. But yeah, that's me.
Right, final bit from me. So, thank you and well done to all of our winners so far this evening. Another big shout out to TechSoc for keeping the lights on, the music blaring. And for not switching off our mics when we blabbered on for too long. Despite our inflated egos, you are actually here for the awards. So, in respect of that, we are going to stop the awards for a bit for a 20-minute intermission. Don't forget, you can buy drinks from the bar downstairs. Thank you very much.
So, welcome back to the second half of the Love York Awards. But before we get out of the way for the rest of the ceremony, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce our next student group. We've never had a performance like this before at the Love York Awards, and we feel honoured that they're here tonight. I feel a bit nervous about who they're going to pick on, and I'm also looking forward for a bit of a laugh. So please give a warm welcome to the Comedy Society.
I got told before coming on stage that I'm not allowed to knock these over, and oh, it's tempting. Oh fuck! Oh god! No, I'll get in trouble. Oh, I'm being egged on. I'm being egged on. Oh god! I've been double dared. How do I? No. Oh, maybe at the end. Maybe at the end. But you know, I was pretty nervous before coming on stage. But then I realised if I just say shout out to YSTV, those guys will cheer at anything. Slay to you too, YSTV. Oh, Matt, see, I was given the guest list beforehand. We got told to try and, you know, rip on the guests a little bit. And I was reading through it, and then I realised, wow, I don't know what any of you guys do. I've never heard of any of you other than Rohan, and that's just because Rohan's campaigning was everywhere. My God, couldn't get away from it. He crashed a pub gathering with me and some of my friends just to advertise. Oh. But yeah, I don't know many of you here, so I figured I'd start my set with a little bit of audience. Why does that keep happening? A little bit of audience interaction, because, you know, who doesn't love sitting at the front row? Howdy there, Mr. Lord Mayor.
Do you know, I thought I was an easy target for you. Is that mic on? Yeah?
Thank you for the mic swap. So, Your Majesty, I've never talked to a Lord Mayor before. How do I refer to you?
You can call me the Right Honourable Lord Mayor, or you can continue to call me Sir.
Can I call you my dude?
You can call me Dude. I'm not sure I'm yours.
Oh, wow. Thanks, dude. I feel like we got to know each other so well. I just realized I haven't actually introduced myself. I'm Evan. I'm soon to be taking over from Rohan as one of the heads of stand-up at Comedy Soc. and I hope you can all agree, I'm doing a pretty gosh dang good job up here. Couldn't have done it all without Rohan. I'm coming back over here. How's it going, Rohan?
It's going good. Yeah.
Thanks. That's enough from you, Rohan. One last bit of audience interaction before I do the rest of my set. So I'm going to go to you with the cool hair. Not going to specify who. Fight amongst yourselves. That was, I think, the worst round of applause I have ever had. I mean, still not much better, but I'll take it. Anyway, so yeah, I love York, as I'm being told by the giant polystyrene letters behind me. I love York, but you know what? I also love my hometown of Bradford. What, have we got that many Bradford fans in the audience tonight? Jesus Christ. You're everywhere. Oh my God. So yeah, I love Bradford. I love that we've, as someone in the audience shouted, City of Culture. That's us now. Still not sure why. I love the friendly little rivalries that Bradford has with other places, like our rivalry with Leeds. I would describe Bradford's rivalries with everywhere in the sports community as, you know how like a sort of hamster is generally very angry at everything around it and is also just not threatening in any way, shape or form? That's very much us in Bradford. But I think the thing I love most about Bradford is, are you guys aware of Monopoly? Okay, so for the person that thought it was a great idea to shout no, I'm going to pick on you for a bit of audience interaction. Oh, you're greeting me in my local Yorkshire dialect of "Hey up." I feel honoured to be in the presence of another Yorkshireman. So, you know what? I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Keep talking to me as if you're a Yorkshireman. Anyway, so how have you never heard of Monopoly? Oh God, you've lived under a rock for 21 years. Really? Good point. Thank you for being funnier than me, the comedian on stage. Yeah, I love Bradford's Monopoly. We've got quite a few iconic spaces on there. But before I talk about the iconic spaces, I'm going to talk about my favourite Bradford landmark that sadly did not make the cut. Have any of you, because there's apparently quite a few of you in the audience, have any of you Bradford fans ever heard of the Baby of the North? Oh wow, someone has. I've never performed this set before and someone has known what I'm talking about. Okay, so back me up on this. The Baby of the North, like 7 foot tall-ish, yeah? Yeah. Made of wires with like horrific bulging eyes. What's the deal with it? Why is it outside the most depressing block of office flats that anyone has ever seen? This... Look, I know I'm slagging off Bradford here, but I'm allowed to. I've got the microphone. I'm glad someone found something funny in this set. But anyway, yeah, they spent tens of thousands of pounds on this statue. I'm just thinking, why? Why do that when you can spend that money on something, you know, actually useful, like a better Monopoly board? Because you know how on a regular Monopoly board there's the luxury tax? Yeah. Well, on the Bradford Monopoly board, we don't have the luxury tax. We have bank deposit. That's because in Bradford we don't have luxuries, you know. We don't have nice things. It's considered a luxury in Bradford if you a lot of people whispering. I'm feeling there's not a lot of respect for Bradford in here. Yeah, I mean, fair on you. But anyway, there isn't a luxury tax in Bradford, on the Bradford Monopoly Board. And that's because in Bradford, it's considered a luxury if you don't have, you know, a broken down washing machine in your front garden. That was the punchline. Shout out to YSTV. Yeah. There we go. That's the cheer I was after. Thank you, YSTV. Well, I'll finish off my set with I'll just walk you through some of the spaces on the board. We got the Bronte Parsonage Museum, which is home to some of the finest literary works of in all of history. We've got the Alhambra Theatre, which is home to D-list celebrities desperately trying to breathe some life back into their dying careers. And then the yellow spaces, we have Morrison's. Yeah, that's right. Morrison's. Not even a specific Morrison's in Bradford. Just a JPEG of the logo, Morrison's. That's one of the yellow spaces. It's one of the most expensive yellow spaces. The concept of Morrison's is Bradford's equivalent of Piccadilly Circus. Right. Well, I've never really known how to end a set, so I'm just going to say shout out to YSTV and have them cheer me off.
Oh, someone knows my name. That's exciting. Yeah, thanks, Izzy. Hello. It's so great. Someone's waving at me as well. It's so great to be here at the Love York Awards, though I must admit I do feel out of place at such a fundamentally swanky event. I'm from Glasgow, so you can sort of understand. Woo! Woo! Never got that reception before. So you can understand my trepidation at such a fancy thing. You know, there's canapes. There's live jazz. There are people in baby blue blazers. Look, I don't know who you are, but you do scare me. I've not gone near you all night, and it's for a reason, mate. Yeah, you know, there's another thing that we don't really have in Scotland, and that's kind of the concept of mingling. I've been saying that a lot tonight. You know, how do I mingle? How do I schmooze? You know, how do you mingle? The only mingling I've ever done was with potentially dangerous family members at Christmas gatherings, which, let me tell you, is a much different experience from meeting whatever a sab is. There's also been a lot of Prosecco, a lot of fizz flying around at the event. Woo! Yeah. That's quite odd. That's quite alienating to me as well. Because the process of drinking Prosecco is quite weird, I think, because you go, zip. Oh, that's not as good as I thought it would be, actually. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And then you do some more mingling, you do some more schmoozing, and after a couple minutes, you take another sip and you go, oh, it's still bad. It's still quite bad. It's gotten worse, actually. It's gotten a lot worse. Yeah, that's an alienating process, because as a Scot and a first year, let me tell you, the one uniting principle between those two groups is to get as drunk as possible, as quickly as possible. So an alcohol that you drink slowly doesn't really make sense. Back home, we have pretty much the opposite. We have something called Buckfast. Oh, people have heard of Buckfast. Let's go. If you don't know, it's fortified wine which is horrific as it sounds. You drink it, and it just tastes vile, but it gets you drunk very, very efficiently. I'm reminded of the first time I ever saw someone drink it. My 15-year-old friend, we were both 15. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's what happens when you forget a word of your set. The whole meaning changes. I saw him down a bottle of it, and he immediately said, "Freddie, that tasted like blended mole." I don't know what he meant by that, but he's doing medicine at Glasgow now, so who's to say? When I first got the call to do this event, I was so excited. I was so excited to do it. They sent me a list of the VIPs to say, maybe you want to get edgy, do some material that's kind of targeted at them. And I would have loved to do that, but I don't know who any of them are. They are that irrelevant, except for Rohan. Love him. Although I must admit, there's only one of you I want to know, and that's Wayne. Listen, Wayne, I'll level with you. Someone just dropped out of a stand-up show we have tomorrow. If you want in, shoot me a DM. Or we can just go for a drink, I don't mind. I was saying I don't want to do material targeted at people. There is one group of people I do want to do material targeted at that might be here, I don't know. And that's the fire safety staff at the Uni of York. Oh boy. Not actually at the whole group, but at one member of them in particular. His name is Larry. Fuck it, I'll dox him. Larry thought it would be okay to knock on my door at 9 a.m. on a Monday saying, "Fire safety officer!" But because all English people sound the same to me, I thought it was my flatmate, which led to me not opening the door for a long time or questioning why my flatmate was saying that he was a fire safety officer. New line of work. Anyway, eventually I did have to let him in. I had to give in. And he's running through my room. He's checking for hazards this way and that. He's trying to ignore the unfinished ice cream on my desk. Eventually, he gets to my wall, and he sees my hairdryer plugged into the wall. And he leans down and he says,
"You really shouldn't have this plugged into the wall. Because years ago, in this very accommodation, somebody had their hairdryer plugged into the wall, and it went wrong. And this whole wall was on fire."
And I just thought, well, as long as it was just the one wall. You know those localized fires that don't spread at all to any adjacent walls or very flammable carpet? It's just content with making one wall a little bit toasty. Yeah, this tells you something about me. I'm such a coward that ever since that day, every time I turn on my hairdryer, I genuinely get the fear of God. That I will set one singular wall, and only that wall, on fire. Thank you very much. I've been Freddie Russell. Thank you.
Thank you to Freddie and Evan for their performances this evening. Slightly nervous I'm following them. There we go. You won't be laughing much at this. Next up is one of the big ones, Student Group of the Year. This award received the highest nominations out of all of the categories and gave both the shortlisting and judging panel an extremely difficult job to choose the winner. We were due to actually have a former York Sport Union president, Laura Carruthers, present this award. However, unfortunately, Laura is unwell and sends her apologies for the evening. Thankfully, we've got a brilliant presenter to take her place, and thank you so much for doing so very last minute. It's a bit of a trial run, so we'll see how he does because he's going to be in our position next year. But please welcome your incoming Student Activities Officer, Rohan Asher, to the stage to present this award.
Give me all you got and don't hold it back.
Good evening. Considered this your third stand-up performance. Yusu really didn't know what they were getting into when they asked me to do it this morning. No, I'm joking. So, I'm here to present Student Group of the Year. The hundreds of student groups at York are what makes it such a lively and thriving university community. They provide activities and events, such as this, and create spaces for lifelong friendships to begin, increase skills and knowledge, and help students to love their time at York. Case in point. Behind these fantastic groups are loads of dedicated volunteers who work tirelessly to keep them up and running. Now, it says here, link to your experience/relationship to the University of York students or groups and why you're here today at the Love York Awards. Now, I don't have the pedigree of my fellow presenters or any of the guests. I run a comedy society. I've done a few plays with Drama Sock. I've written some articles for News and York Vision, and I've done a few things with YSTV. And I did quite well in an election, and that's about it. So sorry. Freddie spoke about feeling out of place. I'm sitting next to the Lord Mayor. You know, this morning I was thinking to myself, how angry would Yusu be if I just came up on stage, forgot the script, and just gave this award to Comedy Sock? Maybe we'll do it next year, instigate something where the presenter just decides. But anyway, on to the serious stuff. I do want to talk a bit about student groups. As I said, I've been part of a few. I wish I could have been part of more. But the thing I would like to say is that after everything that's happened in the last 2 years, and I don't need to say the buzzwords or whatever, I believe from experience, because I've been part of it, I've seen it firsthand, I'm an insider, student groups have come roaring back this year. I've seen societies, groups, volunteering projects, you name it, go back to full schedules, and I know how much it takes to run a student group. I know how much work goes into whether you're a smaller societies, bigger societies, whoever you are, I know how much work goes into that. So I'd like to acknowledge right now, I'd like us all to give a round of applause across the board to the fantastic work that every student group has done. I mean, I can stand here easily and say, you know, relate to my own experience, regardless of whether Comedy Sock win awards or not. I can proudly say that I am so happy with everything we've done across this year. And I think, you know, turn to your friends, turn to whoever you're with today, and just be proud of yourselves for what everyone in this room has done this year. And I mean that. So anyway, let's get on to the awards. So Student Group of the Year. There were over, as Frankie said, there were over 70 nominations for this award, which is a hell of a lot. That's about just less than a quarter per student group. But luckily, we're not really dividing it that way. People submitted like whole nominations, and you know, so the judges could actually decide. So this award recognizes the outstanding achievements of a student group that is for, with, or by students, whether that be a society, sports club, network, volunteering project, or college. So firstly, well done, and thank you to all of our nominees for this award. You're all brilliant. Now for the less diplomatic part, let's start with our highly commended group. So, this group has run a few hugely popular events over the last year or so, which have seen attendee numbers of up to 200. They work closely alongside other societies, local promoters, radio stations, and media groups to give a platform and voice to all the incredible talent we have on campus. The group offers a place for talented musicians to get together, form bands, as well as friendships, and host incredible live performances. And the highly commended for Student Group of the Year goes to Band Society. Well done to BandSoc. Now, for the winner. The winner of this award is... No, I'm joking. The winner of this award has already supported 40 events this academic year, 9 of which were a week long. That's long. Their skills and expertise are relied upon by other groups, and their constant professionalism, creativity, and get-up-and-go attitude make them much loved and appreciated by all. As well as fostering a community of unwavering support, they're also dedicated to giving their members quality training in practical and technical skills that will stay with them for life beyond university. Finally, without them, tonight's event wouldn't have been such a spectacle. Now, you've probably guessed, but I will open the envelope nonetheless. Who knew this would be the most difficult part? So, the Student Group of the Year is Technical Theatre Society.
Phenomenally, you're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights, when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel a good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance.
I mean, the basis of the society is to be backstage. Being here is just wrong. So thank you very much. Just want to say thank you to everyone who's ever been involved in the society, even if you've only come along to one session, or if you're like the rest of my exec from last year, who have just been working tirelessly to make sure that events can happen. It's always amazing, and yeah, thank you. We've got so many people here tonight, and I think Lydia wants to name drop them all. So.
Oh, now you're going to test her if I can remember everyone. Oh dear. Okay, so on lighting tonight with the amazing different designs you've seen before, we've got Will Lake. We've had John on sound, except John is here, so he can't be on sound right now. So Karis has temporarily stepped in, so thank you to them both. We've got Nathan, who was part of our exec the year before us on, he's DSMing and Vision, so there we go. We've had Chris, who's organised this whole event, who's backstage. We've got Will and Ethan backstage as well, and then we've got Emily and Theo on follow spots. While we're here, we'd also like to say a massive thank you to John Rawling, who's part of AV and literally makes our lives so easy and is amazing. So thank you, John. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations again to TechSoc for winning Student Group of the Year. I'm sure you'll... All right. Clearly some people have had a few of the £2.50 Prosecco's. But I'm sure you'll all agree from the spectacular show they're putting on for us this evening that it's very, very well deserved. Speaking of this evening, is everyone having a great time tonight? That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Now, I always feel like I have the tough job because as the person who lives, breathes, loves, would die for sport, people tend to either love me or really, really hate me. Similar to Matt, because I was overhearing his speech earlier, I've been at the uni for 5 years now, and I'm staying on for my 6th year and my 2nd year as a SAB. Clearly, I have a problem letting go. In all seriousness, I've been trying to put into words why I decided to stay here for so long. And honestly, all I've arrived at is I really, truly, overwhelmingly just love York. Although I'm getting on a bit, at least in the student context, I can still remember the very first time I came to York as a nervous, wide-eyed country girl who didn't know what the future had in store for her. Stepping off the train into this beautiful, ornate station, the beautiful sun beaming down on the historic city walls, I instantly felt at home. And it's a feeling I've had every moment since. Thinking back across my many years at this university, there were several defining moments that led me to this very moment on this very stage. Growing up, a combination of lifelong health problems and near constant bullying for the latter half of my education led me to believing that the opportunities other kids had were just not meant for me. So when I saw a sports role up for grabs in the college elections, shout out to any Langwith in the building, I was very hesitant to go for it. But after considerable prodding, make that more shoving, by my stim at the time, George Rance, and several exclamations of effort, I threw my name into the hat. Lo and behold, I was elected. To say that that moment changed my life is by no means an understatement. I went from Langwith Sports Officer in my first year, to York Sport Union Communications Officer in my 2nd year, to running a rugby pilot programme in my 3rd and also whilst on my placement, to a college sport internship and a college sport communications officer in my 4th year. I promise I did do my degree at some point. I'm not just trying to list off all of my roles across the years for no reason, but to show that anyone who is afraid of putting themselves out there can and really should do just that. Over the years, I've learned that the best place to exist is outside of my own comfort zone. Great things can happen, and those great things make the risk so worth it. Without that very first push, I wouldn't be here speaking to all of you as your sports president. And the fact that I even get to say I'm your sports president still gives me a minor existential crisis every single time. I've spoken about this a lot, but I knew I was going to run for the sport union president role for about 3 years. But I have to be honest, I never imagined how the moment it happened would pan out. After a year of endless lockdowns, no in-person teaching, barely any organised sport, and with my health spiralling out of control, I took the very difficult decision to actually leave York, this place I had called home, and go back to my family. I wasn't even sure I had the physical strength in me to run my campaign anymore, but I managed it, and then via Zoom, in my living room, on my own, I found out everything I dreamed of had come true. Safe to say there were lots of tears. I was never meant to be someone who could be a sports president or a sports anything come to that. Pretty much since I was born, I've been fighting a health condition that could have, and to be fair, probably should have, put a stop to all of my dreams. I was told that I probably wouldn't make it to get to university and that I would never be able to play a sport seriously. I showed them. What I hope you all take away from this speech is that it is not the challenges life throws at you that define you, and only you get to decide that. I couldn't have done any of this alone, Along the way, I've been supported by some of the most amazing people, and never more so than here in my time in York. After 4 years, I was more focused on who I was saying goodbye to as I stayed on and many of my friends left. And I didn't really think there was anyone new that this place could throw at me in the past year. And wow, was I wrong. In this role, I have met so many new, incredible people. I've made amazing friends this year that I didn't even know just a matter of months ago. They've been there for me through thick and thin, all the highs and lows, and have never failed to keep me smiling. The memories I have made this year with you all will stay with me for the rest of my life. I couldn't possibly name you all, but there are a few special shout-outs I'd quickly like to mention. To my York Sport Union committee, of which a few of them are here tonight, you guys have just been the absolute best. I cannot imagine the last year without you all. Getting to know you all and working with you to make sport at York the best it can be has been an absolute pleasure, to say the very least. And I am truly so honoured to call you all my friends. To the Sabs, even if they can't hear me from backstage right now, I can't believe a whole year with you has passed already. Some of you I've known actually since year 1, and some of you I only met at the start of this role. But regardless, we've become a real dysfunctional family. From falling off chairs in tears of laughter, to collectively banging our heads against the wall at times, and from Instagram fame to Friday floor time. This year has truly been a roller coaster, and I can't believe you won't be with me next year. Safe to say, being a SAB is truly one of the most difficult jobs there is. But I hope that at the end of your years, or 2, you are all as proud of yourselves and everything you've achieved as I am of you. Now, there is someone else here tonight who has been an absolute rock for the past few years. They, like me, have held various positions throughout their time at York, and the mark they have left on sport here at the university is phenomenal. They've also been on a journey themselves, and I have seen them flourish into a truly confident, absolutely amazing person. They truly are the definition of what it means to be an unsung hero. They are the first person to jump at the chance to get involved in anything, but always the last person to ask for any credit. Everything they do with an enthusiasm and passion that inspires me every single day. Even when troubles and challenges present themselves and give us all a massive headache, they never shy away from handling themselves with professionalism and reminding everyone just why we do what we do. They are always smiling and always bring a smile to everyone around them. I can't believe that this hugely vibrant, bubbly personality who has become a dear friend and a real part of the sports furniture here will be finishing their time at York this year. I know that regardless of where life may take them, their light will never fade, and they will continue to change the lives of all of those around them. This person is so talented, caring, amazing, just absolutely incredible in sports and beyond. And I really hope that one day they will make me my very own dress. My unsung hero is Yael Aba-Ebo.
Can't see anybody. There's just so much to talk about. I've been here for 4 years. Thank you so much to Frankie. She's really shaped the way that I've pictured sport, the way that I've interacted with sport all throughout the year. And not just sport, she's actually got me my position in USU and the way that I've treated it. I just want to say a massive thank you to the College Sport Committee in 2021. They really were my rock throughout the pandemic. I want to thanks obviously to Frankie. Just before this, I was actually wearing socks and shoes because I was at a netball match, clearly enough. We lost, but it's fine. We got through semi-finals, we won roses, whatever. And I want to say thank you to Zach Shepherd. He's not here, he is my manager, but he is going to be a dear friend to me once I leave, and I'm just really surprised. And I will miss everything about York and everything that comes with it, and especially things like this. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so I think I'm the only sub to actually bring a drink on stage this evening, but I'm not the activities officer for no reason. So next up is the Fundraiser of the Year award. I used to work as a fundraiser, and I've loved being able to support our RAG events as activities officer this year. From live music to comedy and even Sabs Come Dancing, it's been a great year for RAG. Tonight has been generously supported by YouFund. YouFund gives grants that have supported hundreds of student-led initiatives and made possible opportunities to deliver huge-scale events, purchase much-needed equipment, and be able to welcome even more members. YouFund is only possible due to the generosity of York alum and the fundraising efforts made by the university alumni team. I'd like to introduce Helen Iredale, Philanthropy Officer at OPPA, to present our Fundraiser of the Year award.
Hello, everyone. Charities change the lives of people in need, and this award recognises the great fundraising contributions to charity made by individuals or groups over the last academic year. It's my pleasure to work with 25 amazing student fundraisers on the UCall telephone campaign who do such a phenomenal job in speaking to York graduates to fundraise for student scholarships at York. So it's wonderful to be here to celebrate the achievements of fundraising students tonight. But fundraising is not easy. It takes tireless dedication and hard work to portray the significance of the cause or charity you're fundraising for. So really well done to all of the shortlisters for their efforts. The winner of this award raised over £1,000 for Spike Aware UK via a charity rugby match between two college teams in the city. This complex off-campus event was lovingly organised by the group's committee and helped students feel heard and enabled them to do something about the issue of spiking, an issue close to students' hearts. And the winner of Fundraiser of the Year is The Last Taboo.
Surprised. We're really grateful to have even been nominated for this award. It goes without saying that this couldn't have been something we did without Hezzy Rugby or James College Rugby, and we're so grateful to have had their cooperation. But I think personally for me, as co-founder of The Last Taboo, but also as president of the York branch, I couldn't have done it without my exec committee. Katie, you've been amazing. I know you weren't there, but you've still been amazing. But also to Beth and Josh, who kind of pioneered this entire event that raised so much money. You guys hijacked your date night to plan this event, and I will be forever grateful. The fact that we got so many people together to come together over such a horrible issue was amazing, and I'm so proud of the work that we've done. To our committee, you've all been amazing. Everyone that was there that helped. Frankie for going around with the charity buckets, you've been incredible, so thank you so much.
I'd also just like to extend a quick thanks to Colin and Mandy, who supported us through so much through this event. You've been nothing but an absolute rock for all of us and the message that we want to spread. And you've been absolutely nothing but fantastic, and we are so grateful for you to supporting us and supporting our event. You've been amazing. Thank you.
Congratulations again to the Last to Be York. The next award is for Event of the Year. When I ran to be Activities Officer, I pledged to support exciting events across the city as we transition to in-person activity again. We have an amazing tradition here at York of hosting student-led events, and this year, thanks to many of you in this room tonight, York has hosted more than ever before, from live music to dance events to charity events and more. Activity is well and truly back. I'm extremely excited to welcome venue manager of the Crescent and general big player in the indie nightlife scene in York, Harpreet Boparai, to present this award.
Thank you. Big player, wow. This academic year, we've been able to welcome proper in-person events back, and the student event organisers at York have not disappointed. The shortlist for this award is jam-packed with a variety of events that have been exceptional at breaking down barriers, showcasing the best in York talent, or in bringing students closer together. I came to York Uni 10 years ago as a politics student. Little did I know that the club nights, gigs, and events that I organised in my spare time would lead to a full-time job in the music industry in this very city, putting on parties with some of my favourite artists. Now, as we all know, the events industry has taken a battering over the last couple of years, and the challenges are far from over. So it's great to see that despite these setbacks, the students of York have thrived at making life at university so much more than exams and dissertations. Events are fundamental to the university experience. They're where we form friendships, where we make memories, where we celebrate everything that makes life worth living. And whether it's late night toast or the summer ball, it's often the case that the heroes behind them are undersung. So it's an honour to be asked to present this award. Now, this category does have a highly commended. So the highly commended for the event of the year was one that took old, discarded items and gave them a new lease of life for an exhibition. Unlike conventional exhibitions, this one engaged its audience in the artistic process through 2 art-making sessions held in the gallery space that brought many people together and established a collaborative and inclusive creative atmosphere on campus. Its opening night saw over 200 people attend, and the upcycled artwork was sold on to students to raise funds for York's environmental charities, the Recycle Project and St. Nick's. So well done to this group for such a sustainable and enjoyable event. So the highly commended for event of the year is Norman Raya Gallery for Resuscitate. Now on to the winner. This event saw not just 1, but 8 cultural UC societies, including Afro-Caribbean Society, Italian Society, French Society, Spanish Society, Latin Society, Greek Society, and Russian Society, come together to put a huge club night on in York. This encapsulated music from various regions around the world and attracted over 400 partygoers for the evening. This cross-cultural event was a fantastic celebration of the diverse community we have in York, and so well done, and a huge congratulations to all those involved in its creation. And the winner of Event of the Year award is British Asian Society.
I would like to say thank you to everyone who was involved in the international night. There was loads of different societies and committee members that to thank for, Special shout to Ria Shermer for organising the International Night, and now we've gained such a diverse members in our society, and we've got great new events coming next year, so yeah, stay tuned.
So congratulations to the British Asian Society. Now, like the other SABs, I also have the opportunity to share some reflections from my time at York this evening. Now, when I found out that I'd be making a speech tonight, I put a lot of thought into thinking about what I wanted to say, and I actually realised something really special. 6 years ago, precisely to the day, the 9th of June 2016, I walked into Central Hall for the very first time on an open day. I'd managed to fight off the geese and make my way through a gaggle of excited and nervous sixth formers to watch a speech from the USU sabbatical officers at the time. Chris Wall, the activities officer, completely lit up the room with enthusiasm for student life at York, and I felt so inspired that York had more societies per student than any other SU in the country. He went on to mention that there are over 365 pubs, clubs and bars in York, and I was absolutely sold. I visited 12 universities in total, but for months after that open day, every time I talked about the University of York with my mum, all she ever mentioned was that guy on stage who made York just seem so amazing. Now, 6 years later, exactly to the day, I never imagined that I'd be standing on this very stage as the activities officer talking about why I love York. Now, you might be wondering how I managed to remember the precise date when I came here for the first time. Now, the 9th of June 2016 was no ordinary day. For any politicos in the room, you'll know that it was the day after the Brexit referendum. I'm sorry, I am about to get political. And I remember as a future social policy student that it dominated the conversation for the entire day. Now, it's interesting that my entire university experience since then has been dominated by politics. The other SABs will tell you that within the team, I quickly earned a reputation of being the political one. But before graduating and becoming the activities officer, throughout my whole time at university, I'd been heavily involved with the University of York Labour Club. When I ran in the main USU elections, people asked me how being involved in politics and the Labour Club had anything to do with being the activities officer. But what politics is ultimately about is people. It's about people feeling part of something bigger, belonging to a group of like-minded people, being accepted for who you are and getting the support that you need. But politics is also about making an effort to understand and value people who have a different opinion to you, and about building connections and communities across these boundaries. It's about supporting the underdog to make sure that they're heard. Now, the role of the activities officer is to make sure that everyone feels included in university life and has the best experience possible within the university community. But throughout my time with York, I've met so many people who've experienced a time when they felt like they didn't belong, that they were different, they felt isolated from their group or ostracized. But I've often found that it's the people who you least expect to feel like this that do. And for me personally, I've learned that you don't need to fit into a certain group. You don't need to fit into how society tells you you should be. You should do what makes you happy. And what we do here at York is facilitate those friendships and those opportunities. And 6 years later, I'm really proud that I get to stand on this stage and that York still has more societies per student than any other students' union in the country. But that's all because of your efforts and dedication in running societies and student groups to make this possible. So tonight, I propose that we drink to us, to all of us who've had different experiences, but that make York the wonderful place that it is. But in talking about the collective, I also don't want to negate the powerful impact that you can personally have on someone's journey in life. When I reflect on defining moments that have happened in my life, it all started because of a small comment that someone has made, or because of a seemingly insignificant moment or suggestion. Chris, the former activities officer, genuinely has no idea of the impact that he made on my life that day on the 9th of June 2016. But his speech that day ended up determining my direction of travel for the past few years. It's these small gestures that often make the biggest impact. So when you walk away from tonight, look out for others. Be the one that takes a step to make someone feel included. To make your mark, it doesn't have to involve grand gestures or even receiving an award to be acknowledged. You just have to be you. Tonight is a celebration, not just for those winning awards, but for everyone. Tonight, we celebrate people. When I leave USU, the biggest thing that I'll miss is the people. And I'm sad to be saying goodbye to so many of you, and I do want to stay in touch with as many of you as possible. It's been an absolute privilege to be the activities officer at York, and I'll never ever forget the memories that I've made. Going forwards, after I leave USU, I'll be continuing my mission to make politics about people, not power. I'd now like to move on to celebrating more incredible people in our community. And I have the privilege of presenting another Unsung Hero Award this evening to someone who has really stood out as exceptional. So much so that they've even been involved behind the scenes in putting on this incredible event. The person who is my unsung hero this evening is someone that I'd never met before starting this job. But from the very first time I met them, it was clear that they were enthusiastic, dedicated, and really cared about doing their very best. Every time I see them, they've always been smiling and have done all that they possibly could to help. This person has been heavily involved in Technical Theatre Society. TechSoc and Caris, this is your cue to start thinking about your plan B. They've led the society to huge success, collaborating with countless other societies to make their events possible, from Central Hall Music Society performances to Drama Soc shows, USU events, and so much more. This person has been there working away behind the scenes to make things happen. They've worked on around over 100 events this year alone, aside from doing their degree. During the pandemic, they even managed to deliver tech training sessions virtually. Working in tech and behind the scenes means that they don't often get the recognition that they deserve, which is why they are a true unsung hero. If volunteering their time with TechSoc wasn't enough, they're also a student staff member for USU in our very own digital team. They've helped to completely overhaul the navigation of the USU website, redesign lots of elements of the website, and so much more. So, for always doing things with a smile and for being willing to do everything they possibly can, this evening, my unsung hero is John Cherry.
Karis has just told me off and saying I wasn't expecting this, but I have to say I really wasn't. It's been an absolute honour to work with everyone that I've worked with over the past 3 years, and I'm looking forward to working with so many more people next year. It's just really, really great to just hear about everyone's opportunities and stories. And yeah, just thank you. I'm going to cut this all short because my voice is about to go, so thank you, everyone.
I've been told by a backstage team that they're absolutely desperate to go to Flares. So we're pleased to know we've just got a couple more awards left. So yeah, get ready. And find a pair of trainers if you're in heels, because good luck dancing in Flares. It's a Love York Award tradition to have an award presented by the Vice-Chancellor. Unfortunately, this year, Charlie is unable to attend. Typical, I know. I've been told he's at a Russell Group meeting in London, so, very important. Well, very important. Boris Johnson is clinging barely onto his leadership. So if Charlie wants to stay down there and sort things out, that might be a good idea. So we've got a quick video from Charlie, and then we'll be on to some more awards.
Hello there. Really sorry I can't be there at the Love York Awards and present the Contribution to Student Life Award. It was a real pleasure to read through the long list of great nominations, singling out students who selflessly gave their time in their college, in their academic department, in a vast range of student societies, in organising community volunteering, in sports, in campaigning, to contribute to the rich student life we have at York. In the last year, that's been all the more important as we've emerged from COVID into something like normal, engaging with three-dimensional people in real rooms. After the previous couple of years, that's been such a relief, and it's been wonderful to see our campus return to vibrant life. And of course, that wouldn't have happened so well without the energy, the commitment, the support of students nominated for this and all the other awards this evening. A quick shout out to UFund for sponsoring the event and helping us recognise and reward hard-working students. And with that, over to Patrick to announce the nominees and winner of the Contribution to Student Life Award.
Thank you, Charlie. Lord Mayor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our final presenter this evening is someone who is in the first queue at the Heaven nightclub in London every evening. She has been an absolutely amazing support over the last 2 years, helping me to deal with Michelle Donnellan and loads of other wonderful distinguished guests that I have to deal with in this job. Our final presenter is the fabulous Joan Kincannon, our Director of External Relations.
Heaven is still never going to happen. As you can see, I'm the super sub. My God, it's bright up here. But it's such a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor to be here. I'm clearly not Charlie, but I've worked with so many students. I've worked with so many students in this room tonight. It has been so inspirational to hear all of the stories. I have been lucky enough for the last few years to be a judge on the Love York Awards. And honestly, every year, the stories, the achievements just become more and more incredible. And I'm just truly, truly honored. So Freddie wondered who all these supposed VIPs were and what we all do. Even my own mother doesn't know what a Director of External Relations does, so he's in good company. But you guys are really the VIPs here tonight, and all of the other students across our amazing community. And I just want to really pay tribute to all of you. So this award recognises a student who has made a positive contribution to university life across their time at York so far, taking into account all aspects of their student life, whether they've been heavily involved in one area or many. Their dedication and involvement will have been considerable. And then I get to ask the existential question of linked to why are you here? And I wanted to say two things in addition to what I've said already. The first of which is, and Sophie ironically talked about Open Day. I was here on that day and I remember Chris Wall's speech because I'm very old. But part of my team hopefully had something to do with persuading you to come to York because recruitment is part of external relations. You may be Wayne's while you're here, but you're sort of mine as well because I am lucky enough to hire lots of students to be Open Day ambassadors, to fundraise as part of our OPA team, to raise scholarship funding, to write stuff for our website, to take part in filming, to tell everybody about your experiences in York. And for anyone who has been part of that, for anyone who's run around like crazy at Festival of Ideas events and worked with us at other events, I'm just so grateful to have worked with so many of you. I just wanted to pick up one thing that Vitalina talked about. We are in such a privileged position here in York compared to what those students are going through in Ukraine. We're lucky enough that Vitalina will join us on the 19th of June to participate in a session at the Festival of Ideas. And I'm just truly honoured that we are able to partner with Kharkiv University and to support Vitalina and her other students. And I just want us to take a moment to think about the situation that they're going through as well, because all of you have been so instrumental in so many ways in supporting students, in supporting our ambitions to be a university that has global access at its heart. And so I won't get any more political than that. So back to the we have a highly commended, I should say, which is really fantastic. And again, I can say as a judge, it was really difficult to choose here. You've given us some impossible tasks all evening. The highly commended for outstanding contribution to student life is someone who has been heavily involved with all aspects of student life at York. From colleges, sports teams, societies, and volunteering, this individual has thrown themselves into all that York has to offer. As well as being an active member of these communities, they've also undertaken a range of committee roles during their time at York, helping to organise and run groups so more students can enjoy them for years to come. As well as all of this, they have an unwavering passion for advocating for human rights, mental health provision and education, spending much of their spare time volunteering in local primary schools. So the highly commended for outstanding contribution to student life, and we've heard already, is the fabulous Sean Brooks.
Don't stop, don't stop the beat. I can't stop the beat. I won't stop the beat. Go! Everybody, we can hear it, feel united.
Hello, sorry. Okay, so highly commended apparently aren't meant to speak, but I want to thank my friends earlier, my parents, and also I just want to say I rang this uni through clearing, and I think a lot of us did. I went through clearing. There were like 6 unis that didn't want me, and York was the first uni that treated me like a human being. Yeah. And so I want to thank York because so many unis view you as a number, and I think I speak for a few people when York was the first uni to treat you like an actual human that wasn't a grade. And so I have loved every minute of my contribution to student life, and I'm so thoroughly honoured for this recognition, and I love everyone that I've met during this 4 years. It's been incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It would have been my quarantine. Thank you. Yeah, it would have been. Thank you.
See, I always knew we were a university that had great choice in people. So, back to the main event. And so now on to the winner, and I know you're all poised. This individual has spent much of their time at York advocating and supporting others, whether that be through ensuring Pride events could still go ahead online, to fighting for provision and support for dyslexic students on their course. They're integral to their college and have held a number of roles in which they've organised huge community building events and activities for their fellow students. And the winner of Outstanding Contribution to Student Life is Amelia Doherty.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened in my life because I just literally turned to Beth and went, it's not me. And then they went, oh, Pride event. I was like, oh, it's me. So really quickly, quick thank you to, I can't see anyone, the lights are as bright as people say it is. Bethan, Matt, and Jess, so they're my best friends and my partner. They're all here tonight. You guys are great. I know that a lot of people have gone, oh, it's really surprised me, I'm not prepared to speech. It did surprise me, I still prepared a speech. So when I was thinking about it, I realized the reason that I can do all of the things that I have done that have made me win this award is that, and I think I speak for a lot of people here, I've come from a place of really good privilege. Not just financial privilege, but also the fact that my parents support me emotionally as well. I have a really good family, etc. That sounds really pretentious, but it's the reason that I decided that I wanted to dedicate this award. So I want to dedicate this to every student who wanted to join a college committee or to run a formal or to maybe make a Pride event go online, but they just couldn't because they had to go to work. I think that those people deserve as amazing an event as this has been for me tonight. And yeah, I'd really like to dedicate this award to them, and they are just as amazing.
Say one more thing, which is a personal, and from everyone in External Relations and everyone in the management team of University of York, the SABs have been utterly brilliant for the last couple of years. And it has been such a privilege to work with such an incredible, empathetic, empowered, engaging team. And I hope you realise you've been so lucky to have such an amazing team. Thank you.
Fabulous, we're all here. So this says, Patrick 5 - thank yous. That word, right, okay. And that's a wrap. There's lots of people to thank. First off, a thank you to our societies and our student media groups for the help tonight. To Swing Sock, to Comedy Sock, to Technical Data Society and YCV!
And thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters, YouFund, First Bus York, York Parties and Castle Howard. A really big thank you to our amazing commercial services team for running the bar very well, I heard, very well stocked, and our staff team for putting together tonight's show.
Thank you to all of our special guests and presenters for joining us tonight in celebrating our amazing students at York. And finally, thank you to everyone for attending this evening and coming out to show your appreciation for the students we have here. I'm sure you'll agree they're all absolutely incredible. Now, I'm sure some of you might be sick of hearing him. I know we are in the office when he's always really loud on the meetings, but it is time for us to hand over for the final time to Patrick to give his closing remarks. What?
Wow. Give me a hug, sir. Thank you.
I don't actually know.
Can we give it up for our new SAB team as well? Woo!
Hello. The what? Is this on? Yeah. I didn't expect it to be this formal. So the flowers are for a massive thank you. From staff and students, I think, for the massive contribution you've made to USU as a whole. Being a SAB, I know is really hard, but you've been SABs at a particularly turbulent time. And I think the reason we haven't hit complete rock bottom is because of all of you. So that's the flowers. And I think Hannah has something to say as well. Please save me.
Thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that. No, we just wanted to say a massive thank you really from the new SAB team to the old SAB team. Whether you've been in the role for a year or 2 years, you've left a massive legacy. We all have absolutely huge shoes to fill. I'm sure you can all agree tonight's been absolutely fantastic. That's down to the SABs and of course all of our student staff, all of our USU staff, everyone who's been involved in tonight, a massive thank you from us. It's the first award ceremony back in quite a long time, so it's really nice to be back in here and we're all really looking forward to doing it next year. So thank you all very much. Have a good night in Flares.
What a fabulous team we've got for next year. You might see, if you're near the front, there are actually 2 awards still to give out. Now, these are for 2 very special people who I'll speak about in a minute. I promise I won't go on for 15 minutes with my leaving speech, don't worry. That's okay. It's been a real privilege to do this job for the last 2 years, working every day to support our 22,000 students here at the University of York. Without mentioning the dreaded C word, York students really have come together over the last 2 years to look out for one another, to stick up for one another, and to continue your assessments and your learning online, which has been really, really tricky. But on top of all of that, as we've seen this evening, we've heard from so many wonderful people and wonderful stories of our hugely talented student body, and it really is the students of this university who make it such a great place to live, work, and to have fun, and I'm so, so grateful for all of your contributions. Lots of stuff has also happened behind the scenes, in the last 2 years, and it's been a real, real privilege to represent all of your voices over the last 2 years, to the university, to union staff, to the City of York Council and community groups, and even the university's minister. I won't tell you how that Zoom went. While you all haven't seen all of this, I really, really do want you to know that we have been really, myself and the SAB team, both this year and last year, have been fighting your case in the room and fighting for you every day. I talk about the 5 of us, or the 4 other, including me, 5, but that really does not happen without the amazing SU team that we have behind us. There's 50 full-time staff, there's 160 staff working every single day on our bars. So can we please put it up for our SU staff team who do so much for our students. I also want to thank our staff at the university for support. There's a few of them here, a few drinks in hand, for all of their support, because obviously without them we can't achieve anything. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Unfortunately, I couldn't think of one person to give my award to, so in fact I've given it to 2 people. These 2 individuals have gone above and beyond to work with students, staff, and the local community to put issues of equality, inclusion, and diversity at the top of our minds. From organising a series of anti-racism events alongside the student expert panel and a really hugely dedicated team of students behind the scenes, they've dedicated their time in the last year to passionately making a difference and in shaping our community to being a more welcoming and inclusive place. Their recent Regal Beings multicultural fashion show, I can hear them giggling, a celebration of music, culture, and downright fun from all parts of the world, saw a crowd of hundreds gathering to celebrate all that makes York such a special place. These 2 individuals have done so much to enrich our Students' Union, our university, and our city, and for this, I cannot thank them enough. So without further ado, and for the final bit of the evening, please can I welcome the fabulous Phoebe and Timmy to collect the UC President's Unsung Hero Awards!
My discotheque, Juliet, teenage dream. I felt it in my chest as she looked at me. I knew we were bound to be together, bound to be together. She took my arm, I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said, you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me.
Wow. Yeah, I get it now. I'm flabbergasted. I'm
First
shaking.
of all, I'm not crying. Hay fever's just really real.
No,
this
she's
season.
crying. She's
It's
crying.
hay
She's
fever.
crying.
Thank you.
I just want to say, thank you, first of all, to the Core 4 who's not here with us.
Big up you guys.
We love you guys so much. And they have helped us make all the events that we put forward together possible. I also want to thank our Obi-Ben Kenobi, Andrew Kerrigan.
Woo!
I'm not sure he's in the audience. He is and will always be the best college manager, and you can fight with your mum on that. He is amazing. He supports all of my crazy visions, and we couldn't ask for a better college manager. And of course, I'd love to thank the amazing Phoebe. Literally, the day I met this girl was a privilege. She is literally my rock. She's the one who takes my crazy ideas and is like, okay, but how is this practical?
Let's think about it.
How is this going to
We have a
actually
plan.
work? And she's just as dedicated as I am. And would you believe it? She does medicine as well, and she has all this time as well. But I really love this girl so much. Thank you so
And
much.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who donated, from the colleges, from the student expert panel, from the youth fund, from Wayne, from
We love you,
Kieran,
Wayne.
from everybody.
We
Thank
love you,
so
Joan.
much.
We love you, Joan.
Really, 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 very much appreciate it. And then also, just because the regal beans we were talking about and the call for saying how we say thank you in our languages. So I'm going to say Ishe in Yoruba, which means thank you very much.
I'm also Yoruba, so it's Ishe.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We're nearly done. Right. Okay, this is quite boring housekeeping. It's a bit of a, not as fun as what we just had. A reminder to grab your wristband to get free entry into Flares. Are you guys there?
No, because we've been waiting here. But I will. Don't you worry.
I'll get you an Uber and shots if you come.
Babe, you... appreciate it though. I'll hold you on that.
Okay. We'll do
Don't
it.
you worry.
So those wristbands are down at the where you came in. If you've got a black card, a platinum card, or a UC student staff card, please don't take a wristband, as your card will already grant you entry. And with that, a wonderful welcome back to Being in Person, and thank you so much for joining us here at the Love Your Walk 2022!